Hey guys, welcome to the show. I am your host Linda Kyien. I am here with entrepreneur and businessman Mr. Pascal Benson.
Thank you for
Karibu sana kwa show.
Asante.
So tell us a bit about yourself, your background, where you grew up, and your childhood.
Okay, thank you so much again for the opportunity. Uh, First and foremost, I'm Pascal Benson. I come from Nyanza. Yeah, I grew in Mathare, and part of it in my early age stages, and I also grew up in Lakisama as a young boy. Went to school in Gunyumu Primary School. It's somewhere in Korogosho. And again from there, I went to Babadogo Primary School. Yeah, we are 7, and I'm the firstborn. And we have 4 boys, 3 girls. Yes, and the funniest thing, all of us were serving in the church currently, the same church. And we are brought up from a church, let me say a born-again family. Yeah, so that's the line we've taken as kids in that house. Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges that you faced growing up?
Number one challenge is accepting that we were born poor. And you know, I really loved to associate myself with people who have it. As a kid, I had this problem of accepting who I am. Because when going back home, we could assess the situation, see the situation at home. In fact, when I was in school, that is high school, we were being chased for school fees. Then we take another 3 months to go back to school because of only 2,000 shillings. And you know, it was very, very difficult for me to accept that part of life, where I was coming from. And my associates, the people that I used to associate with, they were from another class. So I never accepted that we were poor. We didn't have, you see. There was a time that I was chased from school, only to come back and find that my parents have shifted from a place that I don't know. And you know, by that time, we didn't have telephone, we didn't have these mobile phones, you see. So trying to locate where they are, only to realize that auctioneers came and took everything from our house. And so as kids, we were distributed to families, you see. So it wasn't easy for us, and accepting that kind of life wasn't easy for me. So that was my greatest challenge as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, so you said that you guys really struggled growing up, and you know, there's so many people who are going through the same thing, especially young people who look up to you. What message do you have for them, and how can you advise them to cope with accepting themselves? And yeah.
Well, one thing I would like to tell young people outside there, I know we are living in a world whereby it's like a microwave generation, where when you need something, it should be there, you see. But patience is a virtue. You embrace it, and you'll never have these lifestyle diseases, you see, caused by stress. Number one thing, I had to accept it, because the moment I was denying this thing, it is the time that I could even be tempted to steal, you see. Yeah, because whatsoever I want, I needed it at that time. Yet my parents couldn't afford, you see. So it is my advice to the young people outside there, that learn to work. Earn whatsoever you want. Don't sit down and wait for it. Earn it, you see. And when you know that whatsoever you need is outside there, and you have that responsibility of working out to get it, trust me, you'll be busy. Nowadays we have people, be it in colleges, university, suicide. Like just recently I heard that mtu alijiua because akupata pesa sijui ya kufanya nini. You see, all these cases can be avoided if you become responsible. And life is progress, you see. Embrace where you are today and accept where you are today. That will usher you to another step of life. It's like a staircase. You cannot jump, you see, from where you are to where you want to be. It is a process. Yeah.
You have a very successful TV and audio production company.
Right.
So tell us your journey between high school and when you started your business.
Okay. Getting into production, music production, wasn't easy. I used to record my music using the phone. I downloaded some apps and I tried doing it, and I came to, first and foremost, I've done computer maintenance and engineering music, and having the urge, like I told you, I used to sing while I was young, and going to studio. There was a time that I went to the studio to record a music, and producer, I spent the whole day in that studio. I see people recording, leaving the studio, people recording, leaving the studio, and the producer told me one thing, that bado hujaiva. So he told me that ukujage hapa kila siku, I'll show you and I'll teach you how to do it. Trust me, I went there for 3 good months. The only thing is just to sit behind the producer and see what he's doing. He never made me understand anything, you see. So, but it was a passion in me. So I had a desktop in my house. I had to bought it, and I started like looking for these softwares, the audio softwares. Even getting them was a problem, you see. But finally, I raised some money for 1 full year to buy one software. And finally, I started doing things in my house, blah, blah, to where I am. Now, I opened my first recording studio, that is back in 2007. And the studio was doing very, very well, until the time that I got sick. And I was admitted in Kenyatta for almost 4 months. And being admitted, now you see there is a business running and I'm not there. And you know, in the early stages of business, you must be there each and every time, because you have a lot of input to put in your business, you see. And the fact that I was not there, and it was just a problem running the studio. The person that I trusted with the studio eventually sold all my machines and everything. And you know, with the urge of the first urge that I had to begin my studio, I bought beautiful equipments. You see, because I'm perfectionist. When I buy something, I make sure that it is the best. So all those equipments were gone while I was lying in the hospital. Then coming back, I came to realize that I didn't have a home, because the agents had to auction my things, and the studio was gone. So I had to go back to my dad's house and sleep on his couch, you see. So that's where I began again. But I thank God, all has been recovered again. Now I have a studio, and I personally do the recording there.
There's a part that you have not told us.
Right.
How did you land at Kenyatta?
Now, it was a very stressful kind of life. Let me say, it is hooked up to family thing, and I got into depression. It was so bad. I almost got mad, and I was talking to Kenyatta because nobody knew what was happening with me, and finally, plus the, you know, I used to have stress. So where I used to live, we had somewhere rooftop where there are water tanks up there. So I used to stay there at 2 a.m. till in the morning, because I was really bitter. And slowly by slowly, I was acquiring what we call pneumonia, the last stage. So I had a water bag back on my left rib, and it was pressing my lungs. So before the sickness was known, I stayed in Kenyatta doing all those tests and all those things. And finally, they got the problem, and I was operated, and they removed it. Now I'm okay. Yeah.
That's really nice. So how were you able to identify your passion? Because you find that most people who grow up in very harsh environments growing up don't even know where to start.
Right.
Not even that, even today we have so many people who, especially young people, who don't even know where to start.
Right.
You know, they come from school and they have no idea.
Right.
So how are you able to identify your passion, and how did you manage to turn it into a successful business?
Right.
Because identifying your passion is one thing, but turning it into a successful business is another thing.
Right. Now, number one thing, I came to realize whatsoever I love doing, even if it doesn't bring money, yes, I really loved doing music. I used to pay the studio room for almost like 7 months, and the business was not good. But each and every morning you could find me there because it's my passion, you see. And I was not doing only for money, but it was inside me that this is what I do. For 7 months I didn't get anything tangible, and I was still paying the rent, the electricity, but I loved doing it even without money. Even today, it is what I love doing it. So you know, sometimes we get into businesses for money. The question is, what if money maybe is not available at that time? Will you leave that thing? And that's the problem with us youths up to today, because we go for what brings money. What if money is not there and the thing is good? So I would encourage that we go for our passion, what you love doing it, even when money is not involved. Yeah.
Your business has a very unique name. Tell us about how you came up with the name. Yes, and where it is your business is located.
Okay. Now I have a friend from Australia, and this guy, this is my good friend, and he used to call me Le Ministre. He talks a lot of French, so each and every time we exchange mails, the first thing I read, "Hi Le Ministre," and I asked him, "What is this name that you're giving me?" And he told me that it simply means the minister. Yes, you're the minister of the gospel, you see. And he called me this name, and I started like loving the name. And eventually I saw it good. I'm using even for my business. Yes, it has gone. Many people don't know my name. They know Le Ministre. Yeah.
That's really nice. I'm so happy to see that your business is doing well and that you're empowered. You can also tell us about how you got into ministry.
Now.
And how it is linked to your business, because your business is Le Ministre.
Yeah. Right. Now, like I told you that I was brought up in a I'm a PK, pastor's kid, you see. And being there, sometimes I see my dad preparing his messages. And you know, he's a very passionate man. When he starts preparing his messages, and we are all in the house, you could see him in the name of Jesus and reading the notes. And I loved the passion in him. And slowly by slowly, sometimes he could tell me, "Hey, can you read for me the book of," you see. And by him engaging me, he didn't know that he was ushering me in to that ministry, to that part of ministry. And slowly by slowly, I started preaching in church, and eventually I went to Bible school, and I did my degree. And yes, I'm a pastor today in my dad's church. We serve together there. Yeah.
What's the name of your dad's church?
Yeah, the church is called Christian Revival Center. Yeah, it's based in Lakisama.
Fantastic. So you're married?
Yeah, I am married.
So tell us how you met your beautiful wife.
Whew. Now, it's amazing. I met her in a meeting. Yeah, you see this, to concerts and worship meetings. Yes, and I was doing the keyboard by that time. I was doing the keys, and I saw her raising her hands, and she, sometimes when we get into worship, there is this face that we pull out, you see, a serious face, a face of someone groaning and all those things. But I saw her smiling. You know, most of keyboardists don't like pray while they're doing keys. So I saw her and she was smiling and I was like, wow, I love this. It was just easy as that. So the first time I approached her and she told me, you know, I'm engaged. So not engaged, but I'm in a relationship. So I cannot get into any other relationship now. And I told her, okay, it's okay, I'll respect that. But to be serious, to be sincere, you just blown my mind off. And she just laughed. Do you know, from that day we never talked. I didn't know her number and all those. And another incident happened that we met again in another meeting. So slowly by slowly, and then where I got in now, she was at Broken. And
So you were like, yes.
No. In fact, I wasn't happy because I was really upset why she was sad, you see, and getting to encourage her, and we just found ourselves
Bonding and bonding.
That's the thing.
That's fantastic.
And we are bonding up to now.
That's amazing. So do you have kids?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have kids. I have Betsy, Imani Benson. I have Faith, Imani Benson. I have Owen. I have Kemp. Yes.
Would you like to give them a shout out?
Yeah. Hi. Let me just say I love you, my kids. Faith, I love you. Betsy, Owen, and Kemp. May God give you the wisdom to maneuver through life's challenge. I love you so much.
So you also have a very successful car salesman business.
Yeah.
So you can tell me about that.
I didn't mention this first. Okay. Now I didn't mention this at first, but the moment I came out of the hospital, and you know, raising another studio again, it's quite hectic. And I went to Mombasa. My grandfather has his houses in Mombasa. I know life became very hard for me coming out of the hospital, not knowing what to do again. And you know, every business needs money. I have this friend of mine, it's called Pastor Geoffrey. This guy has really made me be what I am today. He told me that you can start a business even without a capital, zero capital. Now, when I went to Mombasa, that's what we were discussing over the phone. And he told me you don't need to sit. You don't need to wait for studio again. You just need to have something that will usher you into the studio business again. Now, he gave me the idea, look for something that you can do. There is a business that you can start with a zero capital. And I started inquiring. And you know, there is a lady who told me that, Pascal, I've bought a car and I hear that you're in Mombasa. Can you bring me that car in Nairobi? And I said, okay. I brought the car. Then after like a week, she was buying a car for her mother. And she was like, Pascal, I'm sorry, I'm disturbing you, but can you bring me a car? I've bought a car again. So, you know, by sending me to the same, to one particular showroom, I'm getting to know these people, see. So, in fact, we formed a relationship. Hey, apart from this lady, there are some vehicles that needs to be taken to Nairobi. So I think we can use you. And I was like, okay. So I've been taking some vehicles from Mombasa to Nairobi, and then they used to pay me. Sometimes the work became so hectic to a point, like I used to, 1 week I used to like do some trips from Nairobi to Mombasa like 4 times, 5 times. Yeah, sometimes I was even missing church. And you know, with this, I came to realize that I didn't even have time to spend my money, the money that I'm earning from this, from being a chauffeur, let me say so. I realized that it never came into my attention that I'm not spending money. So they were getting that money directly to my account by my bank, and they were like, hey Pascal, you know you qualify for a loan. I said, what? Yeah. They're like, we can give you like 800,000 loan. I was like, okay. I went, applied for a loan. I bought a car. Buying that car, it was a Toyota Passo, a very small vehicle, and bringing it to Nairobi. In fact, I wanted to put it in Uber, because by then the Uber business was beginning, and it was very, very good. Only to my surprise, a lady came and was like, hey, can you sell me this vehicle? And you know, I bought it at 650. And she told me, I just jokingly, because I didn't want to sell it, I said, this car will be selling it for 900. And she was like, okay, I did. So I made more than 300,000 shillings out of that vehicle. So that's how I began the car business.
That's where the dream was born.
Right.
Ah, fantastic.
Right.
If you could go back and advise the 18-year-old you, what would you tell yourself?
If I would go back and advise, that is me.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I wish I could have known these business tricks as early as possible. Because number one thing, I came to realize that life is easy when you're fixed, when you fix your eyes on where you want to be tomorrow. The problem with us today is that we only do whatsoever that can benefit us today, and we lose a track of a long-term project, you see. So by now I could have been far, very far, but I don't regret. Why? Because there is time and season for everything, and maybe this is my season to do this. Yeah.
Your story is very inspiring, and you've come from so far. What can you say is the secret to your success?
Oh, this is not even a secret. There's any God. Yeah, God is the center of everything. You know, sometimes things don't go well. Sometimes you trust this idea and you're like, I'm sure this idea is good. But when you go through it, then you just receive a very big blow. And you know, if you know God, if you have a relationship with Him, it's like a shock absorber. When you go through a very, very shocking moment, then God absorbs it. You don't feel the heat, you see. So God has been the center of everything. He is my secret. Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Woo! In the next 10 years, I see myself as the biggest producer in this nation, and even out of this nation. And I'll go beyond. In fact, I want to bring German machines in terms of car business. I want to bring German machines because they don't go for less than 2 million. Yes, it is 3 million plus. And you know, I thank God for Toyota. We have variety of vehicles. But you know, wealth is accumulated. Wealth is not something that you are supposed to get. It's not something that is there. Wealth is whatsoever that is in your hands. It's the 5 shillings that you have. It is the 10 shillings that you have. It is the 100 bob that you have. It is the 15,000 salary that you have. That is your wealth. Now, how you manage it determines where you will be tomorrow. Because there are people who save after spending. And there are people who save before spending. Now, a rich people will always invest before spending his money. You see the way we give our tithe? You give your tithe before you spend it. You see, that is how a rich people is made. If you have that 10 shillings, before you think of going to buy a mandazi, put 5 shillings into your saving box. That is how wealth begins. Yeah.
Ah, fantastic.
And now, as I told you that I'm doing audio, but I have let me say a friend that we've collaborated with, and you can also come for a video. at VM Studios, and that's why I've done a lot of my videos. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. So for those who wish to follow you on social media, how can they follow you personally?
Okay. That is, my name is Le Ministre in all social media handles: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Hi, this is Le Ministre, and you are watching Live with Linda Kyien.
Ah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for watching. We love you so much and see you next time. Bye.